A fertilizer that is very easy to get, extremely easy to prepare, even easier to apply, and works very well for your garden. In today's episode, let's look at this amazing natural fertilizer that works wonders for your garden. And this cheap fertilizer is none other than Alfalfa. Why Alfalfa? So this is a bag of Alfalfa pellets. It's sold as a horse feed, and this is easily available at any feed supply store or tractor supply stores in your area. Make sure you buy dehydrated pellets. This one is sun cured, so it's good. And the reason I say this fertilizer is cheap is because I got this bag for $19.99, and this is a 40-pound bag. This is a large bag, and this will last me a year, maybe even more. And you have seen the size of my garden. It's a relatively medium-sized garden. So in comparison with other fertilizers, this is a high-quality natural fertilizer that will last you a long time. If you look at the ingredients, 16% of this is crude protein, which is nothing but nitrogen for your plants. And more importantly, make sure the ingredients in the animal feed do not have anything added. Your ingredients must read alfalfa grass only. The beauty of the contents of Alfalfa pellets is that it's high in protein, but has moderate amounts of phosphorus and potassium, making it ideal for the way plants want to use these nutrients in the soil. It also contains a lot of micronutrients that the plants need. This makes Alfalfa pellets contain one of the best nutritional profiles to grow your plants. It also has triacontanol. This is a naturally occurring fatty alcohol that stimulates the growth for your plants. Now you can find alfalfa meal in the fertilizer aisle of many stores. However, these are very expensive. But for a fraction of the cost, you can buy these alfalfa pellets, which are exactly the same thing. So this is how the alfalfa pellets look like. They are just ground up alfalfa grass, dehydrated, and made into alfalfa pellets like these. Compressing them this way makes it easier for the alfalfa pellets to be shipped to us at a lower cost. So let's look at the different ways you can apply alfalfa fertilizer. You can directly spread out these alfalfa pellets on the surface of containers. Containers need to be regularly fertilized. However, since alfalfa pellets release their nutrients slowly over time, unlike synthetic fertilizers, you can add them every few months and not worry about fertilizing your plants in containers. We are covering up these alfalfa pellets with some compost just to ensure that the pellets settle into the soil. This is something I do on a regular basis with my homemade compost, and it works really well. Finally, make sure to water well, and as soon as these alfalfa pellets receive water, they will swell and begin to decompose slowly over time while feeding your plants with the nutrients they need. Here is another container where our tomato plant is growing. And here you can see how easy it is to side dress your container plants with alfalfa pellets. The beetle leaf vine has also grown into the spot. We will see if this is its new home or it needs to be moved out of here as time goes by. Once again, we are topping this off with some compost. If you don't have compost, get a planting mix like Kellogg Topper or something similar, which is basically a mix of natural products and manure. You can buy them at your local garden store. And yes, we will water it in to ensure that the alfalfa pellets settle down into the soil. Now let's look at application method 2. If you look at these alfalfa pellets from the bag, they are dry since they are dehydrated. And for these pellets to break down, they need to be hydrated. So in this method, we will speed up the process for decomposition of these pellets by soaking them in water. Take a 5-gallon bucket or any large container and fill 1/3 of it with the dry alfalfa pellets. Make sure to leave enough room as these alfalfa pellets will expand to quite a large size. We will now add water. Fill the bucket up to the 3/4 mark or so with water and leave it for about 30 minutes or so. You can see that the pellets have expanded, and this is just grass, so you can use your hands. It's perfectly safe. In fact, this is food for some animals, So it's perfectly natural and safe for humans to handle it with their bare hands. And I can feel that some of the pellets are still hard. So we will mix it in very well and we will let these alfalfa pellets soak further for about 30 minutes or so till all the pellets absorb the water and start to break down into smaller pieces. It's been about an hour now and you can see that the alfalfa pellets have absorbed water, and we will continue to stir it in and make sure that there are no dry pellets left on the bottom of the bucket. Here I'm using a trowel, so if you don't like to use your hands to mix, just use a garden trowel and mix it in well. And you can see that the alfalfa pellets are absorbing more water, but some of the pellets are still hard and will take time to break down. So we will add more water. It's amazing how much water these alfalfa pellets can absorb. And now, after about 2 hours of soaking these pellets, they look ready to be applied as an organic fertilizer in your garden. And I'll show you a few areas as examples. This is our rose patch. We have added some powdered gypsum first. I noticed that the drainage was very poor in this area, hence we added the gypsum first. It also adds some valuable nutrients to the soil. And then we are spreading out our soaked alfalfa pellets, and they should give you a good idea on how much alfalfa fertilizer you need to add to your soil surface area. And once done, you again water it down well so that the alfalfa pellets mix in well with the soil. And similarly, this is another patch of roses. We will water down the alfalfa pellets well into the soil. And you can see that our roses haven't grown with all that bigger, so they needed a boost of fertilizer and nutrients to grow more blooms. Here you can see how to add the soaked alfalfa pellets in containers. The method is the same, but now they will break down faster. We spread a handful around the plant base. Here is an idea on how to use it on your raised beds. We are adding the soaked alfalfa pellets on our raised beds here, around our tomatoes and onions. And please be aware that it takes a few weeks for the nutrients in alfalfa to be available to your plants. So I recommend doing this in fall through winter, so that by the time it's spring, your soil is enriched with nutrients that are readily available for your plants. This is our cabbage patch, and there are some radish and taro plants growing alongside too. You can see this gives you a good idea on how much fertilizer to add. But again, don't worry if you add a little more. I prefer adding alfalfa fertilizer over a period of time rather than a whole lot at once. Again, make sure you water it in well. Water is the single most important thing for your plants and soil microbes. Soil microbes need water to break down nutrients in the soil and make it available for your plants. And the beauty of using alfalfa as a fertilizer is that you cannot overdo it. The nutrients will be slowly released as the plant needs it. And what's so special about alfalfa is that other than the macro and micronutrients it contains, it also has triacontanol. This is a naturally occurring fatty alcohol that stimulates the growth for your plants. And it's particularly amazing for plants like roses, fruit trees, and vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, and a lot more. Alfalfa is a slow-release natural fertilizer, and it releases its nutrients over time. And our next method of application of alfalfa pellets is adding alfalfa pellets to your compost bin. Alfalfa pellets not only add beneficial nutrients to your compost bin, it will also balance your carbon to nitrogen ratio and help speed up the composting process. So for most gardeners like us who are composting, alfalfa pellets is a great way to add valuable nutrients to your compost and make it even better. All we do is add a few handfuls of the soaked alfalfa pellets into the compost bin. We are using a tumbling composter here. So we add in the alfalfa pellets and turn the compost tumbler a few times to mix it in well. And there we have it. Do you use alfalfa as a fertilizer in your garden? If so, let us know in the comments below. Hit that like button if you like this video. We'll see you again soon. Happy gardening.